Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 6, and now we are going to present about mixed method research. We are from Group 6, and let me introduce our group. My name is Kamila Kurnia Sari, and my friend Lutfi Anggito, Wicaksono Aji. Okay, there are some topics that will be discussed in this time. First, about concept of mixed method research. And second, about advantage and disadvantage of mixed method research. And the third is the usage of mixed method research. And the last is the procedure of mixed method research. Okay, first about concept of mixed method research. So what is the mixed method research? Mixed method research is a research method that applied when a researcher has questions that need to be tested in the term of outcomes and process and involve a combination of quantitative and qualitative methods in one study. And mixed method research represents research that involves collecting, analyzing, and interpreting quantitative and qualitative data in a single study or in a series of studies that investigate the same underlying phenomenon. This is the example of mixed method research. The core characteristic based on the definition of MMR according to John W. Creswell can be seen in the following example. First, a researcher collects data on a quantitative instrument and on qualitative data report based on focus group to see if the two types of data show similar results but from different perspectives. Second is a researcher collect data using quantitative survey procedure and follow up with interview of a few individuals who complete the survey to help explain the reason behind and the meaning of the quantitative survey research. And for the third example is a researcher explore how individuals describe a topic by conducting interview, analyzing the information, and using the finding to develop a survey instrument. This instrument is administered to a sample of a population to see if the qualitative finding can be generalized to a population. Okay, now we'll talk about the advantage and the disadvantage of mixed method research. Okay, this is the advantage and disadvantage of mixed method research. And for the advantage, generate more comprehensive data. Second, compensation for the limitation of using a single method. The third is allow investigation using different type of question. Fourth is can be used to test complex research question. Fifth, use triangulation, which can increase the credibility of the data found. And for the disadvantage is first, researchers need more ability to carry out and interpret the results of the two research design. Second is required for the data. The third is required more time and researchers. And the fourth is it is difficult to combine the two approaches when writing a report and drawing the conclusion. Okay, now we talk about the usage of mixed method research. According to Thomas G. Cook and Charles research, to the conclusion that qualitative and quantitative method themselves can be never used together. And since the methods are linked to the different paradigms, and since one must choose between mutually exclusive and antagonistic worldview, one must also choose between the method types, and each methodology can be used to complement the other within the same area of inquiry. And since they have different purpose or aim, this is based on Susan Steinbeck, 1988. There are some notes. Qualitative and quantitative research method can be used together or combined, but with the following notes. First, it can be used together to research on the same object, but for different purposes. Qualitative methods are used to find hypotheses, and quantitative methods are used to test the hypothesis. Second is used interchangeably, and in the first stage, using qualitative methods so that the hypothesis is found, and furthermore, the hypothesis is tested by quantitative methods. The third is research method cannot be combined because the paradigms are different, but in quantitative research can incorporate the use of data collection techniques such as the use of triangulation in qualitative research. And for the fourth note is can be used both methods simultaneously, but provide both methods are clearly understood, and one has extensive experience in conducting the research. Okay, there are the three main reasons why researchers should use this mixed method research when designing their research, such that first, when using qualitative and quantitative methods, partially it's not enough to help a researcher to understand the problem resulting from their investigation. Second is when the result from quantitative data are not quite enough to explain outcomes, so that additionally useful data is required to help interpret the result. The third is existing qualitative data doesn't require quantitative techniques to solve a research problem. Okay, for the procedure of mixed method research will be explained by Lutfi and Anggito.
Okay, the next is procedure of mixed method research. The procedure of mixed method research, according to Creswell and 2005, there are 7 stages to doing mixed methods research, regardless of the specifications used in this design. So the first, determine the possibility when doing mixed method research. It is intended for beginners as well as researchers or a team of experts, and the researchers and time needed to collect and analyze. The second is identify rationale, determine the design, the type and strategy used for collecting data. The fourth, create qualitative and quantitative research questions specifically. The fifth, collecting data. 6, analyzing data. And 7, write a report. Next is collecting data in mixed method research. So the main step of collecting data in mixed method research as below. The first step is use sampling procedures. The next, obtain permission and recruit participants. And then identify data sources. The fourth, record the data. And the last step is administer the procedure. So the step of collecting qualitative and quantitative data can be explained in the table as shown below. So the step is use sampling procedure, and the description of quantitative data collection procedure is shown in the table. That is, identify the sites to study, identify the participant for the study, and then note the target sample size and why it is appropriate, and then identify the first full sampling strategy to enroll participant and why it was chosen. And the description for quantitative, there is identify the sites to study, identify the participant for the study, and then note the sample size, the way it was determined, and how it provides sufficient power, and then identify the probabilistic or non-probabilistic sampling strategy. And for step and permissions and recruit participant in qualitative data collection procedure, that is discuss permissions needed to study the sites and participant, and then obtain institutional review board approvals, and then discuss recruitment strategies for participants. For quantitative data collection procedures, there is discuss permissions needed to study the sites and participants, and obtain institutional review board approvals, and then discuss recruitment strategies for participants. And for the step, identify data sources. In qualitative data collection procedure, there is discuss the types of data to be collected. There is open-ended interview, open-ended observation, documents, and audiovisual materials, and then indicate the extent of data collection. And for quantitative data collection procedures, there is discuss the types of data to be collected. There is instrument, observations, quantifiable records. And then there's for record of data. In qualitative data collection procedures, there is mentioned what protocols will be used, such as interview protocols and observational protocols, and then state the interview question to be asked, and then identify recording methods such as audio recording, field notes. And in quantitative data collection procedures, there is states what instrument or checklist will be used and provide examples, and then discuss reported scores for validity and reliability for instruments used. And then the step of administer the procedures in qualitative data collection procedures, there is describe the who, what, when, where, and how long of data collection. And then state how procedures will be emergent. And then identify anticipated data collection issues such as ethical and logical. In quantitative data collection procedures, there is describe the who, what, when, where, and how long of data collection. And then state how procedures will be standardized. And then identify anticipated ethical issues. The next is analyzing and interpreting data in mixed method research. The main step of analyzing and interpreting data in mixed method research as below. The first step is prepare the data for analysis. The next is explore the data and then analyze the data. The fourth is represent the data analysis and then interpret the results. And the last is validate the data and results. So for the description of each step in quantitative and qualitative data analysis and interpretation as shown in the table. So for the step of prepare the data for analysis, in quantitative data analysis procedure, there are assigned a numeric value to each response in a database, and then clean the database, record item, and compute new variables, and establish a codebook. For qualitative data analysis procedures, there is transcribe the data, check transcript for accuracy, organize the data by the data type, participant, or case, and then format the data to facilitate the analysis. And step of explore the data, that in quantitative data, there is visually inspect trends in the data and check whether data are normally distributed. And then conduct describe analysis for each major variable, and then conduct basic assessment of the reliability and validity of the measures, and then address any issues of missing data. For qualitative data analysis procedures, the step is read through the data to obtain a sense of it all, and then write memos about initial thought, and then develop a few initial codes and develop a qualitative code. So for the step of analyze the data, in quantitative data analysis procedures, there are select appropriate inferential statistical tests based on research questions, scale type, number of variables, and distributions, and then analyze data using quality statistical software and to answer quantitative research questions and test hypotheses, and then conduct inferential tests and calculate effect sizes and confidence interval.
And for qualitative data analysis procedures, the steps are select the analysis approach based on the research questions, and then use qualitative data analysis software programs, and then implement a coding process such that coded data, develop description and names by grouping codes, interrelate themselves and names based on overall qualitative approach, or develop abstract categories into a smaller names. And step of represent the data analysis. In quantitative data analysis procedures, the first step is summarize statistical results in the text, table, and figures. And the next step is follow style guidelines for reporting results. In qualitative data analysis procedures, the steps are represent the finding in discussions of descriptions, names, or categories, and then provide evidence for the names or descriptions, such as quotes, multiple perspective, and risk descriptions, and then present visual models, figures, and or tables about the descriptions or names, then follow style guidelines for reporting findings. And then the step of interpret the results. In quantitative data, that is summarize the major quantitative results, then compare the results to hypothesis or interpret in terms of the research questions, and then examine results with respect to prior prediction or explanations drawn from the literature, and then identify limitation of the future and identify implication for future research and audience. For the qualitative data analysis procedure, the steps are summarize the major qualitative finding, then interpret how the finding answer the research questions, and then relate finding to past literature and or theories, and then bring a personal assessment of the meaning of the findings, and identify limitation of the study, and then identify implication for the future research and for audiences. And then the step of validate the data and the results. In the quantitative data analysis procedure, the steps are use external standard, and then establish the reliability and construct validity of the obtained scores, and then use procedures that reduce threats to internal validity, and then use procedures that reduce threat to external validity. And for qualitative data analysis procedures, the steps are the use researchers, participant, and reviewer standards. The next, check for the accuracy of the account extent that the information is credible, transferable, dependable, and confirmable. And the next is use at least 3 of the following validation strategies, such that member checking, triangulating data from several sources or individual, spending extended time in the field, reporting disconfirming evidence, conducting an external review of the data and procedures, and then employ limited procedures for checking reliability. The next is conclusion. So the conclusion of our discussion, that is, mixed method research is a research method that applied when researchers has questions that need to be tested in terms of outcomes and process, and involves a combination of quantitative and qualitative methods in one study. According to Thomas D. and Charles Regards at 1987, the conclusion that qualitative and quantitative methods themselves can never be used together, since the methods are linked to different paradigms, and since one must choose between mutually exclusive and antagonistic words with, one must also choose between the methods types. Each methodology can be used to complement the other within the same area of inquiry, since they have different purposes or aims, by Susan Steinbeck at 1988. So that's all from our presentation. If you have any question, feel free to ask your question in the discussion forum. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.